Alright, today we are installing flight fins. These guys on here. Bah! Gonna do a full step-by-step process. This is my first time ever installing them, so we'll be able to see exactly how long it takes for someone to do an install. I am not super mechanically inclined, but I'd know my way a little bit around a wrench or two. So what we have, great set of instructions here on how to do them. Looks like Michael and Ori did a great job on these ones. So it should be a pretty simple process. So let's give it a shot. Looks like first things first, we need tool list. So we have a fender. Says future motion fender is that it was designed around the future motion fender. So we're going to use a future motion fender on this one. A drill. A 13/64 drill bit. A 1/4-inch drill bit, which I don't seem to have in my tool case, so we'll just use the other one and kind of round it out and make it a little larger. Should still work. That one's just for the zip ties. A nail at least 2.5 inches long, which I don't have also, but we'll use a smaller drill bit just to poke it. Should work fine. Painter's tape. Nah, I don't think we need it. I got a purple Sharpie, so that should show up just fine. A Phillips head screwdriver. A small wrench or ratchet. And it doesn't say, but it needs to fit 3/8-inch nuts. And an Allen wrench. These are the same Allen wrenches that come with your regular future motion fender. They also come with the float plate kit, screw kits as well. Alright, step 1. Start with your fender attached to your Onewheel. Easy enough. So what I've done here, since this Onewheel has side kicks on it, I took my pocket knife and I just cut small strips right there so that we can pop out these tabs in order to access the screw holes. Alright, step 2, fitting the fin. It's important to wear the shoes you normally Onewheel in while fitting the fins, as the placement can vary from shoe to shoe. With your fender bolted down and tape in place, power your board on and balance. Put a chair in front of you with the seat facing towards you. While holding onto the chair, engage the board so that you're able to stand in place and center your feet up against the fender. Center the fin over your foot, moving it up and down until you find a comfortable fit that's snug from the base of your toes to the top of your foot. Then, using your pen marker, outline the top corners of your fin. Typically, the fins will be approximately 1/2 inch up from the foot pad. Repeat on your other foot. Okay. Alright, step 3, finding the mark. With the fender still attached to the board, Place the one wheel in front of you and hold the fin up to your pen marks. Notice that the fin may be slightly askew, as you just want the best fit. It's okay if your fin is not parallel to your board. Take the 3-inch nail and scratch into the painter's tape for each of the 4 holes, making a strong mark to use when you drill. Do not drill with fin attached. Step 4, drilling the holes. Remove the fender from your one wheel and use your 13/64" drill bit. Drill the fin holes using the marks on the tape. Step 5, bolting the fins. Install the fins using the corresponding bolts. All should be installed using your Phillips head screwdriver and the wrench holding the nut in place. In bold, do not over tighten or use your drill to tighten the bolts. If you are using a future motion fender, you will tighten until the end of the bolt is flush with the lock nut. If you are using a craft and ride fender, you will go past the nut until tight. Over tightening can result in damage to the fin or the fender and cause the bolts to scrape the wheel. So it looks like the largest bolt, there's 2 different sizes. There's 3 different sized bolts. There's a 1-inch, 1.25", and a 5/8". So looks like there's our 1.25". That one goes in the very top, the one with the logo that says Flight Fins. Then we have our 1-inch, which looks like this one right here. And then our 5/8 go in the 2 bottoms. And then I'm assuming here, because it doesn't look like it says anywhere in the instructions, but I'm guessing these washers go on the underside here of your fender, and then the nuts on top of those. Okay, and it looks like screw it until it's flush right there. And it looks like, it feels like it can tighten a lot more, but the instructions say tighten until the end of the bolt is flush with the lock nut. So that's what we're gonna do. I think it's the softness of the urethane of the fin that makes you want to bolt it down even more. But according to the instructions, we only want to go until it's flush. Alrighty. Looks like we are 1 down. Again, we have the 1.25" bolt, that's the big one. goes in this top piece. Then you have your 1 inch goes in this first hole here. Then your 5/8 go in these other two. Step 6, drilling the zip tie holes. Do not skip this step in bold. Better not skip it. As there is a high chance of stripping your fender rail threads if you do not use zip ties. Fender rail thread stripping has been an issue for many before flight fins given the softness of aluminum, so this is a good precautionary measure in general. Using your 1/4 inch drill bit, drill your fender as shown over all 4 bolts. If for any reason your zip tie breaks while riding, replace it immediately. Looks like Step 7, making final adjustments. With the Onewheel powered down, place the fender back on and roll the board back and forth to verify that the bolts are not contacting the wheel whatsoever. If the bolts are contacting the wheel, you will hear a slight scraping and you will be able to visually see on the wheel where the bolts touch. Always make sure the bolts are flush with the lock nut. Helpful hint for added protection, use low to medium grade thread lock on your fender screws. Slightly bad news. Those of you that ride the Hoosier 6.5 inch treaded, so the Hoosier 6.5, this is a fairly new tire. I did have to burn a little bit of the rubber off it in order to get it to not scrape on the foot pad here. I didn't burn a ton off, but I did burn a little bit. With the flight fins attached to the stock Future Motion fender, this tire won't work. It scrapes even with the screws completely flush. It still gives us some scraping. So bad news, I can't speak to the Craft and Ride fender, but with the stock fender and a Hoosier 6.5 inch treaded, it won't work at all. So let's switch boards and try something else. All right, so this one is the Hoosier 6 inch slick. So this one should work. It has roughly the same diameter as the stock Vega tire. Yep, no scraping at all. This one works. And there we go. Full flight fin install. Took about 45 minutes, all said and done. Seemed like a pretty simple process. Looks like we ended up with 2 leftover nuts. And that's pretty much it. There's also 4 extra zip ties, I'm guessing in case the ones that are on there break. Sorry if we didn't get the zip tie portion of the installation, but I ran out of room on the SD card. So that's it. Let's give these guys a shot, see what we think.